Hello, my name's Chris Minear, and I'm working towards my master's in ministry with a leadership focus. I live in Fort Wayne, Indiana for the last 3 years, but have lived in northeastern Indiana for my entire life. I got married just over 3 years ago to a wonderful Christian woman, and ultimately that led to the decision for us to settle in Fort Wayne, where she had lived for around 12 years. We have both have a child from previous marriage. Both have daughters that are adults, and one is a marketing manager for an organization, and the other is a nurse who is um, heading into the travel nurse pool, which is a very lucrative position and allows for lots of travel. Um, Previous to starting seminary, I had worked in engineering roles for most of my adult life. My last experience for over the last 10 years has been with high end fifth wheels in the RV industry, like I mentioned. And um, as my faith has grown significantly more in the last 6 years, um, that's where I started to have an inclination that I should be doing something different with my life. During the pandemic, when my wife and I were working from home, it really was God had placed it on my heart that I was supposed to move out of the secular world and into a ministry or not for profit role where I could be trying to make a difference. And um, as I leaned into that further, I um, tried to find some roles to volunteer in the Fort Wayne area and enjoyed that, but it didn't lead to anything. So I ended up taking an additional role in an engineering role in an RV industry closer to home for a year. But that year, while it felt like nothing was really happening, I did realize that um, it was time, and God had taken this role that I enjoyed working in, and just it was empty and it was hollow, and I knew then for sure that I was supposed to be moving into a Christ-centered position. So as I continued to try and network in the Fort Wayne area, our pastor of our church introduced me to Javier Mondragon, the CEO at Bridge of Grace Ministries, and we started meeting occasionally and chatting, and um, he had an opportunity to bring, he was looking for someone to come in and right underneath him, his role as our operations manager. And so when we, in our final kind of time speaking before he offered me the role, my wife and I went, and he did the entire presentation for us, showed us the long-term vision of the ministry. And as we were looking at that, my wife he said, so, what do you guys think? And her statement was, wow, this is huge. You have some really big aggressive goals. And he, without blinking, said, we serve a big God. And that really stood with me as we were continuing to think about it and wait for an offer, if I was going to get one or not. My wife had asked me after a church service what I thought. And I knew that if the offer came, I was going to accept it if we could make it work financially, because that's who I wanted to serve with, was someone who was willing to take a huge chance. And like I said, the rest is history, but that's a little bit about me.